The following podcast contains spoilers for Slam! You have been warned!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Budden, along with your host, Miguel Megusto.
Hello, old chap.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm feeling great. I
Hey.
have no idea what this has to do with an Italian film.
Fish and chips, eh? You see the game last night on the pitch, and
Love football.
I'm terrible at accents. How you doing?
I'm doing great until I did that horrific rendition of English accent.
Yeah, we both done fudged that up. So let's just get into it. We're gonna talk about Slam today, an Italian movie from 2016. But before we do that, Glenjamin Andrew Button. I know that's not your middle name, but it is.
I mean,
today.
it sounds better than my actual name.
I'm not.
I wish Button was my last name.
I'm not one to judge other people's names. But have you watched anything in the past week that you would like to discuss?
If I'm being honest, I watched way more than I expected this week.
What?
Going back through the last movies, I was like, okay, maybe I watched 3 or 4. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 7 would be how many movies I watched this week.
Wait, 6 plus 7? Or
Yeah, I watched I watched 7 movies. Slam is the plus.
If we're talking about 7. Me, then that wouldn't be that much. Or, I mean, that wouldn't be that unbelievable to watch 13 movies.
Yeah.
I almost said 13 movies. 7 movies. Other than Slam, what have you watched?
I'll speedball it real quick. I watched Donnie Brasco with Johnny Depp and Al Pacino. For some reason, I was like, I didn't get enough Al Pacino last week. I'm going to watch some more. Hooah! And it was okay.
That's a law. Anytime someone says Al Pacino, you have to go, hooah!
All right, now let's get it. It was all right movie. I think I gave it more stars than I thought it would, but yeah, it was all right. It wasn't bad. Then I watched For Love or Money, another Michael J. Fox movie, which obviously I couldn't get enough of Michael J. Fox and Al Pacino. That was all right.
Oh, yeah.
He was great in it, but the premise wasn't really good enough. It was just okay, to say the least, you know.
Yeah.
It really didn't support what he was bringing and what the side character was bringing as well. And then I watched this one. This one was called Splice.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
What is that movie?
Splice is... Caitlin and I went on a date before we were married. We had been dating for a while, so it's not like this was like a big moment for us. It was just us going through the motions. We used to go see like 2 movies whenever we would meet up because of school we couldn't really see each other too much, and we both worked at the movie theater and movies were free. So this is the worst day we ever spent together, not because of each other, but because of the movies we watched. We watched Splice, which is god awful, and the biggest disappointment to me, because I was really excited for that. When that came out, it was the biggest disappointment to me that year. And then Get Him to the Greek, which for some fucking reason a lot of people love.
My mom and stepdad love that movie.
It's a horrible movie.
Rewatching it, it's terrible.
It's a horrible movie. The whole climax of it is like them telling Jonah Hill to let his girlfriend like cheat on him or some shit, which is dumb. Like, open relationships is one thing, but if the whole plot of your movie is to persuade someone to get into an open relationship and let their girlfriend cheat on them when the whole time they're like, nah, then it's a dumb movie.
Yeah. Getting back to Splice, I turned it on thinking, I was like, okay, Andrew Brody, right? My mind's melted right now.
Adrian Brody.
Adrian, Jesus.
Adrian Brody.
Help me, Lord, please. Adrian, I like Adrian Brody, and I thought the premise for this would have been pretty cool, but God, watching it, I was like, I don't like these people. I don't like what they're doing. They're not scientists, even though they are. But like, this isn't, at a certain point, a scientist like knows, like, all right, I'm doing some stupid shit. And then there's a scene in like, at the last like half hour or 45 minutes where like he has sex with the experiment. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
He thought of as his daughter at one point.
Yeah. I'm like, Anyway, so the next movie I watched was Quest for Camelot. Threw back to the old childhood days. Definitely not as good as I remember, but still kind of a fun movie. A lot of people are like shitting on it in the reviews that I saw. I thought it was okay.
I haven't seen it, but I also hate those style of animated movies.
Yeah, it definitely didn't justify having like singing scenes.
Yeah.
But I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Even like people think that I'm picky now because I'm pretentious and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pretentious ass kid too. Like I didn't like
My
little
boy never changed.
I didn't like Little Mermaid. I didn't like a lot of things when I was a kid, and I still don't like a lot of things. And you know what? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for people to not to like things. Yeah.
It's weird because the bad guy in this, Gary Oldman, is the voice for it. And I had no obviously as a kid you wouldn't know, but like what?
Oh yeah.
But that was that. Moving along, nostalgia hits a little hard. That was cool. Next one was actually a series that I watched, a real quick one called Japan Sinks 2020. It's about basically Japan sinking. And like it following this the story of the family and
like sinking into the ocean.
Yep, straight up has like earthquakes and like sinks straight into the ocean.
That this might be a hot take, but that does not sound like a good thing.
Oh no, it sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And then Mount Fuji erupts too. So like this show didn't really like Japan for a hot second.
Erupts as in like because that's what volcanoes do.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure it's an active volcano.
But yeah, so I mean, it follows his family and like the struggles of what they go through during all this. Like it doesn't sink right away.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's pretty cool, like the people they come across, and like then they find like this one scientist who was predicting these things. I mean, naturally, like a show or movie would. And then they came out on top. It was pretty cool. It was actually really good. A lot of people are giving this shit too because like the concept of Japan sinking is really cool. So why follow a family and just like one thing when it could have multiple different like angles?
I fucking hate that so much.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good.
Like it's
I recommend.
Like, that is the problem. Like, no, I hate the idea that like like everything has to be a cinematic universe now.
Yeah.
Like who gives a shit if there's multiple characters? That's the one. Like people always talk about how TV is better now than movies, which I get why TV is at the highest quality it's ever been.
Yeah.
But for me personally, and I do understand why other people don't want this, but I think what is underrated now is finality. Like nothing fucking ends anymore. Let's write endings to things.
Yeah.
Like I still haven't seen El Camino just because Breaking Bad was like perfect ending, and I don't need to see.
Yeah, you don't really need to see.
I don't need to see what happens to Aaron Paul. Like,
it's kind of just another episode, really.
Yeah,
but
it's unnecessary. It's
unnecessary.
People really need to learn to accept and not respect.
It's a closure episode is what it is.
Yeah,
more
put
than
value on closure and finality. Like everyone just wants things to run all the time, and it's just dumb. Yeah. Anyway, that's my high horse. That's my TED Talk.
That's an animated series, so I should throw that in there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So there's that. I would imagine making Japan sink with CGI and everything would cost a lot of money.
Just a bit.
Anyway, moving on to the last one before Slam was Clash of the Titans 1981, and I have to say, did you see this movie?
Yes, somewhere between the remake and the sequel to the remake. I watched the original.
I don't know what all the hype about this movie is.
It's the fucking 80s. Everyone has nostalgia for it, and they don't see things for how truly awful they are.
Like a lot of the reviews I'm seeing are like, "Oh, I love the stop motion in it. I love this movie." But I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take. I guess it is at this point. But the acting was terrible. The stop motion and like the creatures looked bad, even for I think the 80s. I mean, maybe that's just me with bad eyes, but this movie sucked.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't comment.
It's obviously got worse reviews or better reviews than the one that came out in 2010 with Sam Worthington, but I much rather watch the one with Sam Worthington than.
Whoa!
I know I saw your review. You didn't like it, but I mean, I didn't mind
I
that
didn't like
movie.
any of them, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I barely remember the 80s version, but like it's the same thing. Like everyone puts 80s and 70s movies on these high horses, and you know, for breaking ground they deserve it in a way, but we can also admit when things do not live up.
It at least I'll say that it doesn't hold up if it was like, obviously I'm seeing it with brand new Zoomer eyes
Yeah.
or millennial eyes.
You're a millennial,
Zoomer.
you're not a Zoomer.
So like obviously I'm blinded by that, but there's movies that are like in the 80s and stuff that I really liked. But
Yeah, like Goonies still holds up.
Like this does not.
Yeah.
To be blunt. Yeah, and that's the last one I saw. So, what did you see, my delicious
watched-
treat of a friend?
Ooh. I watched 9 movies, including Slam. Always have to one up you.
You do.
Except for those couple weeks where I wasn't really watching much. The first one I watched is Come to Daddy, starring Elijah Wood. It's about this guy who goes to visit his estranged father, and all I'm gonna say is shit goes down. I'm not gonna say what kind of shit. Not gonna say how the shit goes down, but shit goes down. It doesn't have good reviews, but I quite enjoyed it. Like, it's not amazing, but it's a fun, entertaining movie. I enjoyed it for what it was, but like it's being ripped apart and people are just like, oh, it's not good. I could see maybe people thinking that it's trying to be smart when that's not how I took it at all. I took it as just a fun ride where if you're looking at it a certain way, it could come off as, oh, look how smart I am. You know? But I didn't feel that way at all. That's the only way I could see people kind of being upset and not liking it fully instead of just enjoying it for what it is. Then I watched The Equalizer 2 with Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me. You
I
love
gotta
that
say,
man.
I loved the first one, the first Equalizer. I think it was it's along with John Wick, it was one of those movies that did not look that great and then just blew me away as an action movie, not like an artistic piece, if you want to call it that. Then I saw that when this one came out, it was getting kind of negative reviews. And honestly, I don't see why. It is just as good as the original. I would not say better. The better is the first one is still better. But
that one's got Frank in it, doesn't it? Frank Grotto? Or
the first,
is that his name?
The first one?
The second one.
The second one, no, it's got Pedro Pascal though.
Pedro, yes.
Yeah, and he's great in it. It's very predictable, like what's gonna happen and everything. But like, it's a fun ride. His character's great. It's one of those action movies where he does exactly what you want him to do every single time. And he's an unbeatable badass, and it's like John Wick. Like, you don't really care that he's an unbeatable badass. They still create tension in the moment by throwing in other people into the mix and hostage like situations and shit. But yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's one that I wanted to get around to, but it was also one of those things where I liked the first one and I didn't want it to be dulled down by the second one.
Honestly,
especially after seeing reviews for it, I'm like, I'll just let the.
Honestly, that's what I was worried about, especially after John Wick 2, which you know I didn't care for. Like, I enjoyed it, but like John Wick 1 was just a perfect standalone movie. If it was going to stay at that. I'm glad that they kept it going. So even though I didn't like 2, I'm glad that they made 2, because then they made 3, which is fucking fun. It is fun. I'm not going to say great, because I think 1 is still a superior film. Yeah. But 3 is
I have conflictions between 1 and 3 a lot.
Yeah. But 3 is just really fun. They had a lot of fun with it, you could tell. Yeah. I think nothing will beat John Wick 1 story-wise, but John Wick 3 is a close second. John Wick 2, I know you really liked it. I didn't care for it at all, mainly because
I really liked it, but it was Ruby Rose who ruined it for me.
Yeah, she really ruined it. Like, I liked Common in it. I liked everything. I liked the Italian woman he goes to kill and everything, but really Ruby Rose ruined it for me. Yeah. And I don't hate Ruby Rose. I have no problem with her.
No offense to her, but it's just
in that movie she was not good. No. Then I continued my trend of sequels and watched Zombieland Double Tap. full confession, I liked the first one, but didn't love it as much as everyone else did.
Yeah.
And this one, I liked this one, and apparently I liked it more than everyone else did because everyone else loved the first one.
Yeah, I watched the second one like in the booth.
Yeah.
I was watching like at least a good portion of the movie.
Projection booth for those people who don't know the lingo.
Totally paid for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a lot of spare time that day, and I was just kind of watching it, and I mean, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
Rosario, I love Rosario Dawson.
If you love the first one, I could see why this one doesn't live up.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was just about the first one, I'm about this, so they're kind of even to me. Like I don't hate either of them; they're both entertaining movies. Grab some popcorn and candy, and you got yourself a nice little 2-hour window.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine.
There was a nice little funny little segment there with Luke Wilson and the guy who looks like.
Oh yeah.
Oh my! That whole scene was so funny.
Yeah. Thomas Middleditch is the actor's name who plays the Jesse Eisenberg lookalike. But yeah, then after that, I watched Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne, where they adopt 3 kids all at one time. Honestly, solid movie. Like, yeah,
how is that?
it's solid. You know, it knows exactly what it is. Doesn't try to be anything else. It's like a feel good tearjerker movie. It's got a lot of really funny moments, like when Mark Wahlberg, because the 3 kids are Hispanic, and Mark Wahlberg, while sitting in the interview process, he was like, "Does this make us look like white saviors or something? Like, are people gonna judge us for this?" And it's very self-aware, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
But also has like a good message of adoption and everything like that. You know, it's obviously not like a parental guide to having kids with. I don't know. It might be. I've never adopted children, so
yeah.
But it's a feel good movie, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. Probably more than I did because I don't normally go for those movies. So if you go for those movies, you'll probably love it. Honestly, I was half paying attention until Margot Martindale came into the scene, which if you watch BoJack Horseman, esteemed character actress and fugitive from the law, Margot Martindale's a badass. So that's the main, like, as soon as she was in there, I knew that it was going to be a good movie just because she doesn't waste her own time. She only does good movies from what I've seen, at least. Then I watched Tom Hanks's new movie, which I wish was released in theaters, but was only released on Apple TV Plus, which is Greyhound. World War II movie about a ship, ship like attacking submarines and
I
everything.
didn't watch it for the name alone, or at least like obviously it just came out recently. But I was like, I'm gonna look away.
You're gonna look away?
I'm gonna look away from Greyhound.
Why?
All I think of is a bus, man. I was like, oh come on.
Well, it's a dog.
And a bus.
It's a dog that is also nicknamed the Whippet, which was my high school mascot. But yeah, Tom Hanks wrote Greyhound, which is the main reason I was excited about it. Honestly, you should check it out. I know the title's not that great, but it's
Does Greyhound have anything to do with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Greyhound is the code name of the ship.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the actual name, but it's definitely the code name. But yeah, check that out. That's a great movie. Wish it was in theaters. It would have been amazing in theaters. Then I saw a Russian movie, Russian/Belarusian movie called Come and See. Most terrifying fucking movie in the world. Throwing that out there. It's not a horror movie. It's a war movie, but shows war for what it is and was in World War II and how terrible the Nazis were, which we all knew, but not to this fucking extent. Jesus Christ. It is... It's
that bad, huh? Taking
hard,
your breath away.
It's hard to watch. And honestly, like, this would have been a 5-star rating for me if it weren't for the fact that, yes, I know it's the 80s. Yes, it was the Soviet Union when they made it, but they killed a cow for the movie.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a scene where a cow gets shot and they actually shot the cow. I'm not for that, so I knocked off a star. I know that's not a lot, but I'd be much harder on it if it was made today. But since it was the 80s and the Soviet Union, I kind of understand. But other than that, it would be a 5-star rating, but I do have to knock it down for the animal abuse. But yeah, it's hard to watch. I do suggest watching it, but it is.
I'll have to check that out then.
It is
What was
like
it? Come and See.
Come and See. Yeah, it is horrifying. It's like acid trip during war, but it's not like it's more like if you've seen something horrible happen, you're just like, I can't believe what I'm watching or what we're seeing right now. It's like that for 2 hours straight.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's horrendous. But like in a very well done way.
Okay.
Then I watched a little lighter note, Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Was it needed?
No, but they look like they had fun.
They usually do, which
I'm not a huge fan of I like Jay and Silent Bob, the characters and the movie, but I'm also not a huge fan.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not the target audience for this.
Yeah.
They had fun. That's all I'm gonna say. They had fun, and I'm sure other people had fun watching it. I had some fun watching it. I didn't hate it, but it's not my cup of tea. Then I watched The Long Dumb Road with Jason Mantzoukas and Tony Revolori, which is about this kid driving to college across country, and he picks up this mechanic who just got fired. And the tagline, somewhere between Texas and LA, shit got weird. Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. It's an okay movie. It's not bad. It's not good. It's somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I watched. I had news, but since we're really running late here, I think we should just scrap news. All I'm going to say is that, unfortunately, Grant Imahara from Mythbusters passed away today at the age of 49.
I did see that.
He had a brain aneurysm. This one really hit me hard because I love Mythbusters.
Yeah.
I still love Mythbusters, but they just stopped making them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's an insane thing.
It pains me to say. Yeah, it's a shame.
Why is our news people dying?
I don't know, because it's easier. It takes less time to talk about.
It's either going to be about the fucking Batman movies or superhero movies or just people dying. It's so weird right now.
I'm gonna not end our news on that. That is sad. I loved Grant Imahara. It's sad to see that he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts to his family. But I'm also going to add the other thing of news because it doesn't have much to say. Ingmar Bergman's 1973 feature, Scenes from a Marriage, is getting a miniseries reboot with Michelle Williams and Oscar Isaac.
No.
So I'm excited for that. I like Ingmar Bergman. I haven't watched that one yet, so I'll have to watch it before the series comes out. But yeah, that's our news. Sorry to be such a downer again. So, with that being said, let's get into Slam!
Dai che sono in ritardo.
Io non salgo neanche morto.
Almeno mi accompagni e poi te ne vai.
Ho conosciuto uno.
E dove?
A casa dei amici di mia madre.
Quindi questa è una vecchia?
Non è una vecchia, c'è la nostra.
Potremmo uscire insieme uno di questi giorni.
Tu non hai ragazzo.
Ci siamo lasciati 3 giorni fa. Sono a pezzi, come avrai capito.
The sun is out, the sky is blue, there's not a cloud to spoil the view.
Slam. Team father to be Sam Teen father to be Sam imagines his future as a young parent and finds a surprising mentor while reading about his idol, pro skater Tony Hawk. Reimagine.
It is directed by Andrea Moloili.
This is why I let you read them.
Sorry, yeah. It is written based on the novel by Nick Hornby, written by Francesco Bruni, Ludovica Rampoldi, and Andrea Moloili. It is starring Lucavita Tersigni, Barbara Ramella, Jasmine Trinca, and Luca Marinelli. And I'm just going to... Also, Tony Hawk's voice is in it. I don't know if he actually recorded for it.
There was a snippet at the end too. I don't know if that was actually him or not.
He's only credited as a voice.
Okay.
And I didn't pause to see because it is quick, a quick little snippet of him at the end. But when Netflix Roulette picked this one, I was not. I don't want to say I was unhappy, but I was not looking forward to it.
There wasn't. The other choices weren't that great, though, either.
Yeah, nothing about this intrigued me, but I gotta say, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know how you felt, but...
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I enjoyed this for the most part. There's a lot I didn't like about it.
Yes. So picture in your mind. Let's dwell. Let's take this acid trip.
Let's do it.
To war, like come and see, except for without all the bad. we've got a scale in front of us, right? It's got good and it's got bad. It's got moments where it's a really good movie and parts where it's just like, what it could have been better here. So I think as a whole, I really enjoyed the movie. Specifically, just these two characters, and their relationship and trying to go through it and everything like that and what's going on. Which, if you didn't get from the synopsis, hey, they slipped up and they're making a baby. And he has to fight with, does he basically become his parents and have this kid at 16, 17 years old?
And have his dad not be in his life much.
Yep. Because he, if we're being honest, is a shithead. The dad is a shithead.
Yep.
And so you've got that aspect of that, and their relationship, the Sam and Elise, they were great. I actually did like them a lot. And then you've got this weird aspect that kind of throws it off, where Tony Hawk's in here for some reason, and like he's kind of not being his own person because he's kind of reading this book and following in Tony Hawk's footsteps for me.
Yeah, like I don't know if they actually had him re-record stuff or they just took snippets from an audiobook. Because I know Tony Hawk wrote a book. I don't know if this was it, but they could have very well just taken cuts from the audiobook and had Tony Hawk have minimal involvement in it. But yeah, that part was definitely a little weird. I did like him being like a skater aspect. Honestly, I thought it brought a lot of humor to it, especially with his one stoner friend who was definitely kind of dumb. But yeah, I love their relationship. I do wish, as we said, spoilers, that it ended with them being apart and not having an affair, because I felt like that was that. I was honestly like really enjoying the movie, save for the Tony Hawk voiceover. Not so much the Tony Hawk aspect as it was like there's a lot of Tony Hawk voiceover until they're revealed that they're having an affair at their son's like 6th birthday party or something in the future. That part really just threw me off, and I was like, it's a lesser story. It becomes like smutty at that point.
I was watching, like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, it went from being a good story of young love and how like people you love when you're a teenager not necessarily are going to be in your life when you're older, but hey, you had this kid, so you're doing the best you can for the kid, into a story that sounded like a column from like a Playboy magazine, you know, Playboy magazine confessions or whatever. I've never read Playboy, so I don't know if that's a thing, but it sounds like it'd be a thing.
I think there is a whole nother thing that I wish didn't exist, like we just did with another movie that for some reason is already blanked in my head, with this like time traveling aspect. Oh,
the Rewind. They did it better than The Perfection.
Yeah.
But it was still distracting.
It was super. I mean, I wish this movie, there was multiple things that I wish just could have either been thrown out, like, obviously the cheating aspect. I wish these characters, if they're going to be remaining interested into each other, like they should try to work out their, well, not marital, but like relationship. And obviously they're still like companion. They're lovers, but they don't want to be parents together.
They're seeing each other in the biblical sense, but not.
I think if they would have just stuck with that relationship instead of him, obviously he was fighting his own like parents' demons and he doesn't want to like ruin things.
Yeah.
But he's also not becoming his own person because he either feels like he's going to be his parents, and then he ends up somehow being Tony Hawk too much. And I wish instead he was just his own person. Honestly, if you literally take the meme of Charlie Sheen and there's like papers everywhere and he's trying to explain everything, that's me right now.
You mean Charlie Kelly?
Did I say Charlie Sheen? What the fuck? Charlie Day.
There's probably the equal amount of coke involved. Just one is a fictional character.
I was really enjoying like the cast and the stories there. Like it's there for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's just ruined. It's kind of, for me, it's ruined by the skateboarding aspect, I love it. I wish they focused more on the skateboarding aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Tony Hawk's voiceover things weren't really a thing. More like him actually reading them.
Or at least cut down.
Yeah. I wish they were placed better in his life than just voiced over into like, this is what is happening to this kid at this, and it's what happened to Tony Hawk, I guess. I don't know. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
There's just so much that I wish was better about this movie, because I loved this movie. I'll be dead honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so much tension of like not liking it because of the rewind, because of the relationship that he has with this girl that he doesn't want to be committed to her in a sense, I guess. And then they both end up with different spouses and they're still seeing each other.
Yeah. And again, like the story of the woman he ends up with in the end, but is then also cheating on in the end,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been beautiful because it's the woman that he sees while skateboarding with like his massive group of
His
skateboarder
large
friends.
posse of skaters.
Yeah, and then he runs into a guy. Like, it would have been a great book ending if that's how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
But then they continue to show that they're having an affair, which honestly, like, the Tony Hawk voiceover did take me out a little bit, but I can forgive that.
Yeah.
The ending the story with them having an affair, maybe it's a European thing, but that's a much more sad thing here in the States.
Yeah.
Like if it's a European thing, it's like, oh, we just had an affair, no big deal. But in the States, it's not. It's sad, mainly because I don't care that they're still sexually attracted to each other,
Mm-hmm.
but like
I mean,
it
they're
just
definitely
seems
cheating
cruel.
on two people there.
Two people that seemed pretty good, like good people. But yes, we didn't see them that much, but we were not given a reason to not feel bad for these people that they were being cheated on. Like, it just kind of cheapened everything. And honestly, that was where the film lost me. Is that like I was, I could look past all of the faults until that was like it was so close to a great ending, a beautiful ending where they're co-parenting together. They're both on good terms. They're both on good terms with each other's spouses, and then they just ruin it with this fling.
Yeah, I wish it would have either went he was like faithful to like the chick that he's seeing and like still good to his kid, or him and Alice like would have worked something out there. I would have preferred the second one, preferably for me. I think the one like where he sees the chick in the beginning of the movie is kind of like too romancy,
Yeah, I get that.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just me though. Like, it's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, but the problem is that it felt like it was trying to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
it was trying to get you to like both endings at the same time, and it didn't work for me. Again, it could just be a culture thing. I don't know how cheating is viewed over there. I'm sure it's not 100% great since they're being secretive about it. Otherwise, they'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna go fuck in the kitchen real quick." Just
also, speaking of the fucking, what was the deal with the? I understand he wanted to be better than Tony Hawk and like bang for 23 seconds instead of 22.5, but
yeah, that was fucking weird.
Like, you do get better at sex, not just 3 minutes.
Yeah,
that's like my man was just pounding for 60 seconds and was like, all right, get the hell off of me.
Glenn, let me talk to you a little bit because I'm your elder here.
Dad?
So it's all about breathing and muscle control.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to do that bit any further. But yeah, it was really weird. Like, yes, I could, like, teenagers are obsessed with that statistic. But it was weird. I felt like it didn't need to be needed. And like, does he think he's fucking better than the god Tony Hawk? Just because his first time he lasted 2 seconds longer? Are you fucking kidding me?
2.5.
Samuel? 2.5 seconds? I'm sorry. No, yeah, it was really weird. There's a lot of weird aspects of it.
It was it was an ongoing joke too. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, and like it's true that is probably a thing that couples would joke about, but it's also just weird that it was asked in the first place to even become a joke. I don't know. Yeah, it definitely made it weird. But overall, the movie's pretty solid. I didn't hate it. But that ending really just kind of destroyed it for me in a way.
If I guess we should kind of just move on to the review, right? Or
Let's move on to the judgment. So, Glenn, I'm gonna let you go first because honestly, I think your opinion is gonna sway my opinion either way. I have a thought in my head. And I will tell you honestly if my thought remains after you speak. But I want you to persuade me.
You what?
I want you,
There's
and I also want you to persuade me.
Oh.
No, I want both.
Thank you. That's words I needed to hear. So it sucks. I really actually liked this movie way more than I thought I would, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got those aspects that fuck it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like this is where I'm doing hand motions where I'm like climbing a staircase right now. But I wouldn't mind watching it again. But also then I have to deal with everything I'm dealing with right now. But the cast and the performances and the relationships were great. But then it's got its flaws. And I don't know what I want to do. You can't really compare these two movies, but Perfection and I mean this one I just enjoyed so much more. Like there was more there to enjoy than the Perfection.
The Perfection I stopped enjoying probably about 15 minutes in, and it was just like kind of dealing with it. There were moments in the Perfection where I came back around to it, but like I kind of wrote it off in the first 15, 20 minutes and was hoping that it would persuade me back. Whereas this was the opposite.
Yeah, to the points where this would throw you off, it reeled you back in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I'm comparing them right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, I might do something that I didn't expect me to do right now. I like these judgments where I break it down like these fucking, like I'm a goddamn scientist, not like Splice. I think I might put it on the shelf actually.
Okay. Yeah, this is kind of why I wanted you to go first, because I really did enjoy this movie. Ending is atrocious, and not even like the full ending, just like literally the last 3 minutes or however long he lasted in that sexual encounter, and a little bit before that. But I was going to say no to this just because of that ending.
Yeah.
But because you said yes, I am now inclined to say yes. This does go on the shelf.
Yes, it's really cool that we like break it down like this too, because it even shows that on the shelf, not every movie on there is perfect.
Yeah. It's was never really meant to be just movies that we think are worth watching more than just to check it out. It's like, hey, you should watch this. But yeah, I was going to say no, but it is really, I really enjoyed this more than I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I honestly wasn't expecting it. So it was a nice little nice little C. So Slam joins the shelf along with the Handmaiden and
Apostle,
because we always have to say Apostle. And yeah, I'm cool with that. You know, it's not, honestly, I did not think that we were gonna go here.
I didn't either.
But it's a solid movie. I really do think people should check it out. Know that it has its faults. Every movie has its faults. It's just some hide it better than others.
Yeah.
But that will bring us to plugs as we say
I forgot
goodbye.
to say something. There's only one phrase that I know how to say, and like as soon as I hear it, I'm like, I know what that means in Italian, and that's
I know one too. But,
it's fuck you. So when everybody comes around, they're like, fanculo. Or vaffanculo. I'm like, I know what the hell they just said.
What do they translate it to in the film? Because I know this is PG-13, I think, which they probably
no,
did.
they said that.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, Alice
Maybe
says
it is rated R.
Alice says it to Sam. I think it's when they're like about to do it for the first time.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's kind of like hesitant.
Nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, vaffanculo.
The one Italian I know is morte de fame, which means I am dying of hunger.
Same.
Which there is a comedian, I think his name's Joe Panay. He was a big, both physically and metaphorically, a big comedian in the 90s and early 2000s. And he said that he always learns how to say "I'm dying of hunger" in wherever country he goes to, just so people feed him. That's how I know the
I
Italian.
mean, that sounds like I
Yeah.
need to learn that.
Morte de fame. But yeah. So I guess we should get into plugs then, since
Let's
we
do
went
it.
off on that little tangent.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay. What's your little pluggy?
So my plug is this little thing that I kind of stumble up. I got a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm sorry. It's called Mickey is Forced to Choose Between Goofy and His Country.
Oh, I think I saw that. I don't
Did you?
remember when
Oh,
I
wow.
watched that. It definitely
Hot
wasn't.
dog.
It definitely wasn't 41 minutes ago.
Definitely was not. So like I was struggling watching this because I couldn't tell if it's its own thing or like it's kind of like spoofing off of all like war movies in like the 80s and stuff like
Or doing that thing
Platoon
like that they've done with the Joker, where they have someone who can do really good impressions, just repeat lines from the killing scene in Joker.
but it's just Mickey and Goofy like just talking to each other. Mickey wants to get these files, but Goofy wants to send them to the country so they could find. It's a weird animated short. It's only like 3 minutes, but it really hits you, man, because they're brothers, man, and if they're brothers, they gotta look each other in the eye at a certain point. I don't know, man. It was funny, man. I was
that
trying to
was
look up
pretty funny.
quotes and stuff from it, and it doesn't seem like it's copying off of any movie specifically.
Yeah,
Just like a scene, really.
I was telling you that the music reminded me of Platoon, and then what Mickey is wearing reminds me of Christopher Walken in Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
So it's definitely inspired by at least a couple movies.
And weirdly, it looks like it might be a series, actually.
Cool.
I'm just looking at that now. But this one's just going to be this one, is Mickey has to choose between his friend Goofy and his country.
Look, Goofy, we can't let that information get out. We just can't.
We have to. It's our moral obligation. We can't let them go on with all this.
But, Goofy,
If you want the files, you're going to have to kill me.
don't make me choose between my country and you.
Yeah, it is fun. I do suggest people watch that. My plug for next week, as you all know, and I'm sure Glenn knows, I'm a huge fan of A24.
Oh, dude. Go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
I forgot that I watched something else.
Oh, what'd you watch?
I watched your comedian series. I forget his name, honestly. Fuck.
Dave?
It was it was like oh shit. Hell, what was his series that he came, it was the ones where there was the scrapped jokes from SNL.
Oh, I think you should leave.
Yeah, I watched
Yeah,
all of that
Tim
in like
Robinson?
one day.
Yeah, it's a really quick watch. What'd you think?
Oh, dude, they were hilarious.
Yeah, they're really fucking stupid, but really, really funny.
Like I was editing a video and in the background I had that on, so like every now and then I'd glance over and
Yeah.
just watch them. It's so funny. Took me like 9 hours to edit a video because I was also watching that.
It's okay. You just had a sloppy mud pie and you took too small of a slice, and then I ate the sloppy mud pie. Yeah, it's really dumb. I love it. But
Anyway.
so I love A24. And there is this series produced by A24 on Hulu that has won a bunch of Emmys and shit called Rami. It's about a Muslim guy living in New Jersey, trying to be like a good Muslim, but also struggling with his identity and everything. You know, A24's modus operandi. And it's actually a really, really good series. I started it today, and I'm already like almost through season 1. And there's
Oh, wow.
2 seasons. Yeah. 2 seasons, and they're gonna have 3 at the very least.
Are they like whole hour episodes or
No, they're like 30-minute episodes.
Okay.
I think the first one might be an hour. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But they're like 30 minutes, give or take. But yeah, that is Rami or Rami. No, I'm gonna say Rami.
Could be Rami.
It's Rami. That's how the Egyptians would pronounce it. And he's Egyptian, so it makes
Also,
sense.
speaking of Rami, this kid in this movie, Sam, looked like a like a younger Rami Malek.
Yeah, he kind of did. But yeah, that is Rami on Hulu.
I want to know who I am. I want to explore.
You're like the kids in Egypt. They throw down the government. Big revolution. Then what? No plan.
I don't know what I'm doing, man. I look at my parents and how strong they are and how they just know everything's gonna be okay because they have God. And yeah, I have sex even though I'm not married.
Where are you gonna go?
So what? That means I'm not a good Muslim?
All right.
So those are our plugs for next week. That brings us to our assignment. And I went back and forth between two movies all week. I might save the other one for another day, but I decided on one that I feel like is going to be... It might divide us. It could very well divide us, Glenn.
Oof.
And I say that because on Metacritic, it has a 74 Metascore, which is pretty good. But on IMDb, it has a 5.3 out of 10. So it looks like everyone's kind of split on this movie. Our good friend John Clark has seen it and will not tell me what he thinks other than like little hints until I watch it. So we're going to watch it. It's called Starfish, and it's available on Amazon Prime.
My name is Aubrey Parker, and I think I might be the last person left. Hello? Anybody? Please. And you know what used to be my dream? Was for everyone to just disappear. Who are you talking to?
Of course, I put Starfish like an ass and expected a movie to pop up. Oh, man.
Into Google?
Yeah.
All right, so a unique, intimate portrayal of a girl grieving for the loss of her best friend, which just so happens to take place on the day the world ends. It is directed and written by A.T. White, apparently credited as A.I. White. It stars Virginia Gardner, Christina Masterson, Eric Beecroft, and Natalie Mitchell, and that is on Amazon Prime. And this is a movie. If you watch the trailer, Glenn, you should watch the trailer because the trailer looks really good. And
so from that synopsis, I'm just getting this is like the opposite, but also same as Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
in a way, yeah. I mean, this is not a comedy by any stretch.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by the opposite.
Oh, I thought you meant like
silly.
Yeah.
The premise. But also the premise.
Bit, but it's going to be like an artsy Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
Not actually comparing. I'm trying to make a stupid joke.
Yeah. But that is, that's our assignment for next week.
I will watch that trailer, and I will watch the Starfish.
I mean, we can't record until we both do.
I have to watch the Starfish.
So that will do it for this week's episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website, KeystoneFilmReview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_Film_Review. Twitter, Keystone_Film. Facebook, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch Starfish. Does the name have anything to do with the movie, or is it just a movie? I'm dying to know, Glenn.
Does somebody's
is Patrick
arm
Starr
get chopped
in this?
off and then it regrows? What happens?
Oh, look at you with the science knowledge.
Boom.
Starfish have regenerative limbs.